This week we're going to be talking about fasting. Fasting is a subject that is common within the church, but is also not common. Many Christians have never fasted, and many of the people that go through my classes have never fasted, and many of them get to fast for their first time during my course, during my spiritual formation course. And that has been a huge honor for me because I get to hold their hand and basically help them begin this spiritual discipline that many of them get to continue for a long time. Hey, let me tell you a little story. I had this assistant. Okay, she was my secretary, an Indian young woman called Purnima. Purnima is the sweetest woman that I've ever met. She's just an amazing woman. And we were working when she came. She had been a Christian, a Catholic Christian that was a convert from Hinduism because he was married to a Catholic man. Okay, so he was just sort of going there, and then he started working with me. He'd never fasted. In fact, Purnima loved food so much, she never thought she would fast. And she would be okay with me talking about this because she talks about it all the time. So this is totally something Purnima would share and has talked about it before. So Purnima loved food so much that when I just talked about food, a smile will come over her face. She loved food. I've never met a person who loved food that much. She'd never fasted before. And then, we talked about fasting. She was working, and a habit that I had in my office at a time, which is taught and encouraged to students in my courses, is that you stop and pray in the middle of the day. And so we would do that, and there would be days that I would fast. And she gradually began to fall in love with Jesus and just grow and grow. She wasn't the type that was spending much time praying besides the Catholic thing that you hold. How do they call it again? Those braids that you hold, you used to pray with. She was doing that. I've forgotten what you call it. But she was doing that and not really into God that much. And then she started growing, and Purnima started fasting like crazy. Like, she would fast several days a week, fasting and praying, until she was having problems with her husband, who didn't like her fasting so much. Okay. So I say this story to say that I have seen some people who initially did not like fasting, and then I get to introduce them to the beauty of fasting and the spiritual benefits. There are both medical and spiritual benefits of fasting, okay? So I introduced her, and she just enjoyed the opportunity that gave her to connect with the spiritual world, to connect and just hear and sense the Holy Spirit more. When you fast, as you're going to be learning this week, you get to hear the Holy Spirit more. You're more sensitive. You're more attuned. Of course, your flesh is weakened so that your spirit rises. Your spirit wins over the battle between the flesh and the spirit. Okay, so fasting is really awesome. You will enjoy it. It is going to transform your spiritual walk. Don't be scared. I've also seen a few people who are very apprehensive initially about fasting, and then they get to fall in love with it. So I bet that if you're apprehensive about fasting, you've never fasted before, you're scared that you couldn't even miss a meal, that you might be just a kind of Purnima. And I could list many people like that. Stephanie came with some story a little similar. She started fasting the first time during this course, and I could list you so many people who've gotten to really just grow and love God and enjoy fasting. Right now, Stephanie and I and the rest of the team, we fast once a week on Thursdays, and they lead it and they enjoy it, and it is a privilege to fast. It is a sacrifice you put on the altar to just fast and praise and worship God. So that's what I'm introducing you to this week and encouraging you now. But if you are medically not well, if you have moral objections to fasting, well, you don't have to fast if you're not medically fit, and if you have serious moral objections to fasting, even for the fasting assignment that we have an alternative for you. You'll write about fasting instead of fasting.